Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. And look who we got here joining us from Team Revolution. Man, Coach Kennelly. I'm just kidding. Canelo Loveless.
Don't call it a comeback.
Jeffrey. Thank you.
He's been here for years.
Yes.
Oh, man. We are excited to have you on as we had a memorable and eventful weekend, as always, in sport karate. And so neither of us were there this weekend at the Pan Ams, so we're going to recap that and talk about some things, but we all paid attention and watched, and we want to share all the big things from the weekend and also how we are moving forward. So into really, for me, is in a lot of ways is like one of the most exciting times of the sport. You know, when you have Battle and US Open back to back, and then you also right now have a lot of big WACO events over in Europe too. Like there's so much going on in the sport. It's a really cool, time, June, July, lots going on. So these events really like build anticipation for that. We talk about that every year with AKA, how it's just no matter what, we're just excited to get that going, right? And then it's this time of the year again, and then it kind of builds back up in diamonds and world championship time, for WKC and WACO, WKU, and just ending the year. So it's cool to
AAU.
AAU is the same time as US Open. So if people don't know, I'm gonna have a busy 4 weeks. All right, I'll be doing Battle of Atlanta, then I'll be doing a regional tournament in TCT, which is in Virginia, and then the next week I fly to Fort Lauderdale for 4 days to compete at the AU Nationals, and then drive to US Open the next day and compete for 3 days there. So yeah, great. It's gonna be crazy, but it's gonna be fun. Yes, sir.
What is TCT?
So TCT is called the Competitors Tour. It is a tournament based out of the Southeast. Brian Penna puts that on. There's a lot of guys that used to be in the NBL years ago that still putting on their regional events out there. So, and they do a good job. They even have like a regional version of the Super Grands in the Southeast.
All right, word. I hope I wasn't the only one who didn't know.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
Awesome. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man?
Hey.
All right, guys. So make sure you guys are sharing and letting everybody know about what we're doing tonight as we get going. Frank Sinatra concert. I like it.
I got a different one over here for Troy. Hang tight.
Uh-oh. So before we get into Pan Ams, I'm just going to share. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that one's smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That hides my eyes. I look like I look like a hitman if I wear this, so I can't do that because I need to bring some kind of positivity.
Yeah.
Tell you what, when I start talking about the stuff that gives me gripes, I'll put this one on later.
All right. So for me, I was not at Pan Ams this weekend. I had black belt testing, and we've shared about this so many times about what we do during black belt testing and what is like, exciting about it. This one was a little different because I had 5 of my guys testing, but I also had 3 guys from my instructor that we were doing at my school. So it was a little different. And yeah, I mean, it was exciting. It was fun. It was long. We start on Friday night and then we finish around 5 p.m. on Saturday. And you know what, by the end of that, these guys feel like they accomplished something remarkable. And today they were completely different people when I saw them today in class. So that's what's cool about it. So what are you going to ask, Alex? I know it seems entirely.
I mean, I remember when you first said that, like, yeah, this is the weekend of black belt testing. It was a couple years ago when you said that. And I was like, wait a minute, what did you just say? Wait, walk that back. Did you just, yeah. I'm like, no, never had that. So it was but I do like the way that the culture around black belt testing. I mean, I don't know what it's like in any other country, but in America, what it's like, because I mean, I remember we were, our organization, we're in the days of, okay, test for your black belt. Well, I'm glad you brought all your friends and family. You failed. We'll let you know when you can try again. See you later. Right?
Right.
Sucks. Never want to do that again, right? Which is fine because then, like, all right, when the people who make black belt, okay, yeah, there are black belts. Wouldn't it be great if it was like a process where you finally get to that one part that like, all right, yeah, you could fail, but come on, we kind of know that you're not going to because we've already went through that process.
Right.
For most organizations that are well run, they usually have a process like that. That's pretty extensive, which is good. So I think I think each of my black belt exams there were like 3-4 hours, something like that. Did you say how long was like one of like your processes, Jeff? How many hours did you say it was?
So yeah, so we did 7 to 8 hours Saturday, and then we started 3 hours Friday. Yeah. So I mean, ours isn't really like, oh, if you don't have this right, you fail. It's like you're gonna get it right. You came here, so why are you gonna quit? Are you gonna do this? Or are you gonna push? So it's interesting. It's different. We do a lot of the big thing with what we do is every kata they do, they have to have an application for it. But what also is different about our test is that everyone on the board is a part of it. I've been to tests where you're on a board and you just sit there and you do nothing. And it's like, why am I here? Just to watch this? All right. No, like, so we start and it goes from one end all the way down and everyone does some type of exercise or drill that they want the testers to do. And the one rule is just, it has to be something that you can do or you have done before. Don't come up with something like, listen, if you can't, sometimes you get young black belts on the floor.
Call them out and be like, all right, everybody, grab your 3 sectional staffs.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It'll be something like that. Okay,
right.
I got you.
Right. So it's always funny when you have like first time black belts that are on the board and they'll, like one guy, first thing is like, all right, remember, this is getting them warmed up. So keep it simple in the first one, jumping jacks or, fake jump ropes or jump rope or something. The last test, not this one. One of my guys made them do handstand push-ups for the first thing. I'm like, bro, no.
That's too much.
Hey, you'll need to alter it, somebody. Okay, you'll need to alter.
Is this at the beginning of the 8 hours?
This is at the beginning. This is at the beginning. Yeah, to get started. So it's like, can we just warm them up a little bit first? But so everyone does that, and then we go and do another round. Like this was our biggest board we ever had. We probably had close to 20 on the board. So nice. the first lap took an hour. The second lap was drills and basics and things. So it was just cool because what's good about it is like everyone gets to add something to it and they're learning something from it and just challenging them. It's not something they can necessarily prepare for, and so it's different. I mean, of course, I know every belt test is different, but and everyone has a reason why it's this way or that way. But once they get through that, I feel like they can accomplish kind of almost anything in their life. So it really,
I was going to say so. You start out with the handstand push-ups.
Handstand push-ups.
No, I'm gonna be honest. Like I've always kind of felt like, because once you get enough into martial arts, you're a few years in, you start realizing like, okay, other martial arts do things different, other systems do things different, and now you're a black belt. And I always kind of wanted to be like, you know what, I want. And I know I'm not a black belt in their system. I don't know everything that they do, but I could pass that black belt test. I could pass that black belt test. And I've always kind of felt like I feel pretty confident I could do that almost any system. However, I can't even tell you the last time I did a handstand push-up. I'm going to tell you that right now. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Same.
Oh, yeah, that's a little bit.
Yes, who's got time for that? Get out of here.
That's a little bit. We're like, all right, man.
That's a Grand Slam thing. That's a Grand Slam thing.
No. We don't do that all the time. All right, stop.
Well, let's slam dunk on some of this sport martial arts news we got going on, Jeff.
Here we go. So we had a big weekend. Pan Ams moved to May this year. So neither of us were able to make it this year. But Canel, you were there. You brought the team. Overall, like just be honest, like the differences from November to May. What did you think?
I think one of the challenges from moving to November to May was the fact that you've reached the time of the year where you got all these people graduating, right?
Yeah.
And not just, hey, from high school or college, but the little kids who, hey, I'm going from the 4th grade to the 5th grade, and I need to have the party and the new car and everything else. So I think in that sense, that was a challenge for them. He still had a nice turnout. He still has some high quality competitors there. But I think the challenge is the time of the year, and it interferes with so many of the graduating and moving to the next phase of their lives. So if there was anything, that was the biggest one.
Well, I guess I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
May's always kind of been like that. We just talked last week about how Jeff Orlowski and Mike Welch had the Infinity National Championship, but they intentionally do it over Mother's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. I think they should do it like right after Memorial Day, because the size of that water park area triples. So I think that could be really cool. But I don't know. Maybe they're getting a different rate. Maybe I'm just speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I have no idea. But anyway.
But it's a good weekend, though. That's a good weekend.
Week.
Bill Viola.
Yeah.
Bill Viola.
He did it Memorial Day weekend,
right? Was Memorial Day weekend.
He
had great numbers. It's over with Sunday morning. You still get a chance to enjoy your Sunday and your Monday. It worked out well.
Yep.
And I think once your tournament has built a culture of we always do it this weekend and people can plan accordingly, I think that's okay. So,
and they have done well. They have a packed house every year. So
correct.
For sure.
This is going to be
May has that thing
experience. Yep.
With any kind of May tournament, like mid-May to late May, you're going to have that thing of graduations. I don't know if I said this on the pod before, but I skipped going to the prom to go to the New England Open. I'm telling you, at that point, I would have been very happy to go to that prom, right?
Oh, all right.
But I did not. I went to the New England Open, and I was just this young 18-year-old kid, don't know nothing about nothing. I clearly made a better life choice. All right. But
all right.
Yeah, that's kind of what you run into, though. You run into that time of year. What are you going to do? But Manny Reyes Sr., who doesn't love Manny? It's a great guy, great event. Let's talk about it, though. What direction do you want to go in first, Jeff?
Yeah, good question.
You want
tell me.
Okay.
Let's. Do we want to start with positive stuff?
Plenty of stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of things. So let's just kind of shout out to some of the big winners, some big things from the weekend, and we may get, we got, a lot, Katana Everett, who won both the open weight and the female fighting grand, repeating that from last year. From, it kind of looked like, hey, weren't we just here seeing her do this in November? And she did, We have Enrique Lotona winning the lightweight. Who won the open weight? Was that Christian?
I had that one down.
I think that's Christian.
Yeah,
I think it
Christian
was.
Won the
I believe so.
Yeah, did he beat Oscar, right? He beat Oscar Garcia?
Oscar.
Yeah, that's
right. I could be wrong, but I believe so.
Then we also have Philip Brumet, who won 2 grands, so the CMX.
He looked good. He looked good.
That was a big one for him. And to do that with that competition with Ben and Dawson in the house. So big for him. Also, Tim Conkle won both the 30+ forms and weapons grands. So big up to him. He is staying active and competing big time this year. So good to see him getting better each event. Let's see some other. I mean, obviously there was a lot in the juniors that did great.
Yeah. Luca won a trad men's.
Yes, and Amber won the trad women's. The CMX females was Lily from Kick Team for the forms. The weapons, Samantha Mittling won the CMX The traditional weapons. Who won that one? Oh man.
Wait. Oh,
Somebody-
shoot. I'm brain farting.
say Abigail. Maybe that's for another one. Abigail Huck.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. Lily,
Yeah.
but let's go back for a second.
Lily won
Lily
that
had
one. Lily won that one as well. Yeah.
but
She won the-
Lily had a great weekend. She won Korean. She won Japanese traditional, and I think she won another CMX division. So she was on stage like 3 times. Yeah. She had a great weekend.
Yeah. And she won 2 grand. So awesome.
Yeah, she did great.
Yep. Abigail Huck won the 13 under. I know that Adonimus won both of the grands. He won both 13 under boys grands, the weapons and forms. We also have, go ahead, share you guys some of the other ones. I know Alice Gross, she won the female forms, and also Avery won the weapons for that 14-17. And then let's see who won the weapons for the juniors, or whatever they call them, the 14-17 male. Is that Noah?
No, Noah lost to Noah won. I believe he won 14-17 forms. I think it was forms.
Okay. And then the other kid from AKA won the weapons then. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't have all the results in front of me. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so big winner.
John Lorenz.
Yes.
John Lorenz.
Oh, John Lorenz won. Okay. All right. Awesome. So as far as all that, man, there's a lot of things going on. And I'm sure there's some other big ones as well that we will get to. Yes, Lorenz.
Wait. I gotta mention, and someone brought this up. There's this little kid. His name is Lightbulb. I think they call him Hugo.
What?
Okay.
His
name?
His name. Oh yes, his name is Hugo, but I think his nickname is Lightbulb, and he looks like he's about 5 years old. But this kid's got personality. He was in the trick battle. He's giving people daps and everything else. He got the crowd hype, and it was just, I'm telling you, his name is Lightbulb. Wait till you see him. He's a mini version of Michael Molina. Like he's shorter than but he's like 10, 11 or 9 or whatever. But as soon as I was judging him, and it says Lightbulb, you're up. I'm like, what the heck? But he's Lightbulb.
He said mini version of Michael Molina.
Yes.
He already has money.
Like,
it's already short.
That's what I'm saying. That's like a basically a mini cupcake. What is that?
He is. I'm telling you, he's this little kid. If he came out and he still had diapers, you would not even think anything.
Shut the front door.
Wait, if you get a chance to see him, I'm telling you, this kid, he's got personality. He's killing it in his forms and weapons. I'm telling you, he's a future star. And he's on Diamond G3.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's
give them a shout out.
Awesome. Yeah, and they had a big weekend as well. So
oh my gosh, absolutely.
And you know, so excited to see them. Tony said yes, he is amazing.
He's amazing. Awesome, I'm telling you, wait till you see him. If you get some video, you're gonna be on the train. You're gonna be riding the train with them.
All right. So before Alex gets on his crazy train, we're going to I'm going to get kind of on what I feel is something that continues to be an issue, and we've talked about it for years since we started this show, and I think I actually made you think I was nuts when we first started.
You did
this about the judges being in separate hotels and the judges having to be only judges, and just how we need to be thinking of this in a professional and different way, right? And for our sport to move forward. And we talked about this all the time, that we don't think the promoters, especially on the world tour, should be judging. there's too much of a, it's not saying they're completely bad. It's not saying this or that, but it just doesn't make sense anymore when you're trying to create a certification league for that. You need to have people outside of the promoting inner circle to judge, right? To make this work. You know, and you know, back in the day, it would be that the promoters would be coordinating or helping run the event. You know, everyone is part of that. To me, that works.
They should, and they still should.
You should be in part of it and working on that. The problem that we're having now is that some of the issues are happening with the judging issues are the promoters talking during forms, okay, and not just talking like turning and looking at each other. You know, this happened several times this weekend. It's happened in the past. Some promoters getting tired. You know, we've talked before. We think that some, you know, especially at a certain age, you've been doing this for a while. You're not going to be at your best, you know, anymore. So move on to a different job, or just, you know what, we're excited. We're happy you're still here and promoting in a part of this. So be there in that.
Yep. So Jeff, I agree. And again, I hope we use this forum as a way to move forward and to improve our sport. We can talk about certain things. I can tell you now, I was there. I witnessed it. I mean, you know, it didn't happen to anybody on our team, but I watched promoters with their eyes closed while the person was on stage. I watched a promoter judging runoffs, and he's on his phone and he's swiping on the phone while the person was performing. I saw two promoters. The person is on the stage while they're judging, and they're literally turned and they're talking to each other while the person was performing. Right? And again, it makes no sense to mention names or whatever,
right?
Because they're not the first ones,
right?
But let's make them the last.
Wait,
that's the goal.
But it's happened before. It still hasn't been addressed. But I think the biggest thing becomes this: what we need to do is check our egos. If we're tired, if we're tired as a judge, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? Can you replace me for a little bit? Let me get a drink of water. Let me do something, walk around, something or whatever.
Well, wait a minute, Connell. I got to stop you on that one. No, because that puts the responsibility on that official, when in reality, it's not that official's, let's say promoter, responsibility. It's not their responsibility. If I give my 5-year-old the keys to the car and say, hey, take us to the park, it's not my 5-year-old's fault if he crashes the car. It's my fault because I gave the keys to my car to a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So why would we say, hey, you should have told us if you were going to get tired? Like, what kind of sense? That doesn't make sense. Like, I'm over here working my tail off for you for nothing, right?
Well, that's not true. That's not true, though.
No,
you're
okay.
I know. In this situation,
is a bit of a
part of the whole. Yeah, they're a part of the whole
thing. They're a part of the
package. The whole thing. So they're part of the package. So they actually, as wanting this whole league to grow, they should. I feel like they should step up and say, "Hey, can someone come out?"
Right, but we all have roles that we need to be in. If you put me in this role and say, "This is your role today, you do this," that's your fault now. You put me in that role and said, "This is what you do today." Okay.
Well, but Alex, I'm going to give you something that happened, and it happened at Quebec, and it was awesome. They put a judge with me and said, here, you guys got fighting. The judge said, hey, listen, these guys are too fast.
Ooh, nice.
And I can't, I'm telling you, I would mess it up. And this is what they said. It's too important. And I said, thank you. And I'm just like, hey, I appreciate it.
Let's name this person. Do you know who they are?
Pardon me?
Do you know who they are?
I don't know the lady's name. It was a lady from Canada. And she just said they're too fast. It's too important. And we got a qualified judge. And it went like bang. It really did.
But here's the other thing, Connell. I bet you if she would verbalize something like that, I bet you she's done a little bit more training and has immersed herself a little bit more in what that is. So
I just, like I said, it was the greatest thing, Alex. It was the greatest thing. She took her own ego out and she said it was too important. And I wish others would say, hey, you know what? It's just, this is above me. This is, you know what? I don't know enough about traditional to really sit in the chair. I don't know enough about Korean to sit in the chair and know what I'm looking for and different things like that. And
let's look at it. Let's look at it in a different direction. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Connell. Let's say someone asked you to judge. But let's say Yamena is fighting Katana. Someone would look at that and go, well, that's not fair. That's a conflict of interest, right? And we would say, well, that's not fair. And we could all go, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's a conflict of interest. We shouldn't do that. Why is that the only conflict of interest that could possibly be had? And that's what I don't get it. Like, if we can look at that and go, that's a conflict of interest, we shouldn't do that. But we turn our head, we like turn it off when we go, yeah, but there couldn't be another conflict of interest. That's the only one. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense. Clearly, if Connell in this situation, and he wouldn't even put himself in that position, right? If you can go, yeah, that's a conflict of interest because literally one of his better fighters is fighting in the championship, he could sway, right, points that direction. We shouldn't allow that to be a situation. Well, couldn't we do the same thing if, like, and we'll use Manny Reyes just as an example, just because we're talking about his tournament. If Manny Reyes could go, well, I'm going to step in and be the center referee for this one, we can go, this kind of seems like a conflict of interest here. All right. Mm-hmm. We could look at that. Why can't we do that? All right.
Yes. No.
So that can definitely be the same thing. And I'll tell you this, I think I mentioned it before. So it just makes me giggle. I got voted out of judging at the Diamonds this year. And we're just doing, and I'm in it. I got asked to leave one division.
Just for Japanese. Yeah.
Just for Japanese. And Mr. Carnahan came up to me and he goes, I'm going to give you a break for this. And I go, Mr. Carnahan, I'm here for you. Whatever you want me to do. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't have no problem. But if you want me somewhere else, I'm good too. And he goes, no, I want you in this ring, but I just don't want you to judge this division. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Why? And he goes, well, we all know that you don't like Japanese form. What? What are you talking about? Number one, not the case. Number two, if that were the case, isn't everybody in this division doing a Japanese form? That doesn't make any sense. But let's just take that step out. Enough people felt strongly enough that they said, you know what? We feel this might be a conflict of interest. And they asked me to step out. I didn't say nothing about it. I'm like, okay, it's not my money on the line. It's not my competition on the line. Okay, no problem. Why can we look at that and say that could potentially be a conflict of interest, but not anything else? And it's like we're willing to like flip the switch on and off whenever we feel like it. And I feel like we do that in martial arts so much.
Well, and then we do it because, and then there'll be some centers where they'll be like, oh no, I need you to judge right here. And you sit down and you're like, oh wait, no, that's my student. And then the center judge is Oh, so you're saying you're going to cheat for them? Wait, what?
Ugh,
No, I'm not
no,
going to do it. Then you can sit here and judge.
right.
No, it's not a good look. It doesn't help the sport by me doing that. Oh, then you're hurting the sport by making it go long. Like there's sinners that have done that and have done that to me and try to make, so it's like, come on, so there is that. So here's the one thing for all of this. I still don't understand why everyone is so defiant and so holding on to having the judges next to each other. Like,
Oh,
why?
You mean
Like,
them
why?
seated right next to each other?
Seated right next to each other and not in the
yes,
corners.
yes.
And they're holding on to it so much that is part of the problem. And it's like, hey, we want this to happen. We want
Yeah, I agree with you, Jeff.
judges to talk to each other because we're putting them in the situation to do it. And you know what? Here's the thing. These forums, especially these traditional forums, were not created for judges. They were not created for the view to be up front. They were created to fight multiple attackers. So all of it is in view. So you need judges at all corners to look at that. So I don't understand, and honestly, truthfully, a creative forum should be the same way. I know, because
100%.
that kind of, but it should be the same way, right? So,
well, look at the
and then if
way
you
we
do that,
made our forms,
now,
Jeff. We
right,
made
it's
them
because
specifically because of where the judges are seated. If the judges were seated in a lot of different directions, could you imagine the cool new creativity we could have? Right?
exactly. That's why. And people don't want to do that. They don't want to change.
Nobody does.
So that's just
Yeah.
me. And that's I think that's, I don't understand why we're holding on to it. I give Battle of Atlanta a lot of credit for making every ring last year. They had judges separated. The seats were separated. The only one that was not was the stage, and that was because the center put them all in. Same thing happened at US Open where they were separated, and then the center put them all together. And it's like they got to stop that. Like it's there for a reason. So
Yeah. But I want to go back to something that Alex said.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm going to give David Bassanet like props.
yep.
We were in, I think we had open weight, and David and I was in, I forget who the third judge was. And David said, hey, listen, I won't mention the team because it really doesn't matter. He says, hey, when they're in, I don't want to make sure that there's no issues. Canal, you make sure you take me out and I sit. Most people would have said, you know what, screw it, I'm judging, and they made it about themselves. But he actually, and if you go back and see that ring, you'll see a whole bunch of times of us going back and forth, because it wasn't about him. It was about the competition. It was about the competitors, and the fact that here he is, a major promoter, good guy, everything else, could have got his ego in there. And he says, nah, I'm not going to make it about me, which was, to me, I had to throw that out there. It was a class thing. And the people that were supposed to win, they won. And there couldn't be anyone saying anything else about it. The other thing about the corners and the separation, to sit and watch judges sitting next to each other and watching that one judge, and you've all seen it, he glances over and the next thing you know, he's flipping that scorecard just like that. And he's flipping it. And it's like, I don't know. For me, if I feel that a person is getting something, I don't care their name, their coach's name, team name, any of that. I'm going to give you the score that I believe that I've gone through everything ahead. And if there are 699s and a 698, I'll stand by my score. Because that's what I did. I didn't follow the crew, whatever. You know what? If you want to call me the Russian judge, I'm the Russian judge. But I'm giving what I believe, because at my angle,
That's what you saw.
that's what I saw, right?
Yep,
Hey,
exactly.
maybe you didn't see that stumble or that
Exactly.
miss, right?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Good guy.
But
Well,
the same thing we've talked about as well is when someone's like, "Oh, did you see that stumble?" Oh, like, dude, shut up. Like,
you just influenced.
you know,
You just
you're
influenced that
influencing, and that's
judge
why you
who
need
didn't
them.
see
That's
it.
why you need them separate. Have them separate. Have them separate. So everyone gets a real different view. Like, that's why, like, seriously, I think there will be a lot of differences in results if people saw the back heels of a lot of these competitors. You know,
Oh,
I mean,
don't you
possibly.
start that one, Jeff.
No,
Do
we've been
not
that's
start
something
that one,
we've
Jeff.
been talking about a lot. We've been talking about back heels, back knees, a
Oh,
lot.
yes.
I think what's actually more important is, and maybe this is something you guys talk about in Kappa, is what is a 9.97 form in CMX? What is that? Because if I were to sit down and judge that division, one should think that, all right, let's just take me personally. I don't need to name anybody else. I should be qualified to judge a division like that. I should be okay. I shouldn't be able to just go, you know what? I feel like that's a 9.5 without any reasoning why. I should not be able to just go, that's just what I think.
right.
Well, what the frick for? These people come out here, spend thousands of dollars for the whole weekend just because you think something. Doesn't matter what you think. Just because that's what you think. Nobody cares about what you think, right? I spent thousands of dollars. I've trained my life for this sport and activity to come out here, just get bent over because you think something. Nobody cares what you think. What is a 9.7? What is a 9.8? What is a 9.9? Are 10s off limits now? Let's at least broach the subject. What is that? We should have some kind of answer. Why do we judge this? Now we're getting closer when we're not actually judging a performance anymore. We're not doing that.
No,
It's a
ranking.
placement
Yeah.
on how you are in the rest of the division. I can be trash in the division, but if everybody else is trasher, I'm getting a 9.9.
Right.
And you know what? And here's the thing. I'm willing to accept that. I don't love it. I'm willing to accept it. But when we come to grand championships, I think we need a little bit of a different conversation. Right? So, and maybe that's something you talk about in Kappa. Nobody's going to let me in that conversation. I guarantee you that.
Let's say this. I think one of the big things when you talk about feedback to a competitor, and you get feedback from judges, well, I didn't really know your form, but I didn't like it. So I didn't know what you did. So that's why I gave you a low score. Right? Those type of comments for that person whose whole family spent all this money to say, I didn't know your form, but I didn't like it. I didn't know the application or those type of things. I think the comments, you know what, should be, I really don't even think we should be making comments back to the competitors and whatever, because you don't know what they've been taught, right?
Exactly.
You do not know what you taught. Hey, maybe in this system, or your instructor said this middle block, and maybe this time we did a down block.
But here's the thing,
here you are.
Of course
Here
they
you are critiquing people and telling them they did it wrong. Wait, and I'm bringing this up because this happened to someone on our team that said that you didn't throw your kick high enough, but they didn't know the form.
Right.
Well, but
are you kidding?
The reason why someone would ask is because we put that much value in what the judges will eventually do, which is why we've mentioned it. Like, we will change the entire format of our performance based off of where the judges are seated. We will change what form we do even based off of what the judges will call certain things or not. So yeah, that's why people ask. So I feel this is gonna be a 4.5 hour episode.
Oh no, but let's say this. But let's say this, Alex and Jeff. Let's say this because I want to flip it a little bit. You know what? You can't get anything done unless you have judges. That's the first thing. And some of these judges bust their, excuse my language, they bust their ass for the whole weekend to try to do the best that they can do. And it's the few that make it tough for the many, but the few that make it tough. It makes it tough to say, I want to spend this $15,000 to support when I don't know what level of judging I'm going to get. But I don't want to take away from the people that are doing the best that they can, that's doing what you've asked, the judges, that fighting judges that you can see in the corners, and all of a sudden they're moving around trying to see the fight the way that we're hoping that they're going to judge instead of being stuck, right? I saw a lot of that, which was awesome this weekend, of judges moving around. There were a couple of judges that said, hey, listen, I got to get up. I got to move around. Can I get somebody? That was great. That, hey, listen, I can't. I got to get up, move around, whatever, find me a sub. And they even came back, which was great. I think if we could build that consistency, because if we can do that, we start moving the sport to the next level, right? Because you've made it tough to continue to support when quietly other opportunities are coming with the AAU, with the WACO, AAU Taekwondo is blowing up, and all these other little opportunities are creeping in. And what we really need to do is just work on being consistent. I would love to have a judge. I will tell you this. I would love to have a judge that's consistently in one way or the other. At least you know, right? Before they had the 9.6 to 9.9 and you had the range, there were judges that, hey, consistently, you knew that guy was going to be a low score, but you know what you were getting out of. Right. So, to go from, hey, this top level competitor that's 9.9 at almost every tournament, and all of a sudden it's a 9.2, and you don't know what happened, and that conversation becomes, I just didn't like it.
Well, I'm going to tell you this kind of, and you're not going to like what I'm going to say. So and I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So you're saying you just want consistency from, like, if you get a judge, you want consistency from this judge, that you're going to get it like this each and every time.
Consistency
cannot happen.
When that judch is on a roller coaster,
happen. I'm going to tell you, cannot happen.
I said I put it in the hope chest. I hope.
But I'm going to tell you why it cannot happen.
I'll put it. I mean, hey, Brett is saying something awesome. You got referees that and umps that's like, hey, he's going to call that strike low. So when you get up there, you know what? Be ready for it, right?
Well, yeah, I hate that as well. That's one of the things about baseball that drives people nuts, is because a strike is not always a strike, right? That's the thing. But look at that sport. It's America's pastime, right? They obviously can succeed, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we can have things where it's like, what is a 9.7? Oh, figure it out today, all right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think is absolutely batty.
But
right?
the operative word
the reason
is today.
The reason I said
today.
It cannot happen is because of the position that we're putting people in, all right? Okay, the ump behind the plate. He's also not the third base line coach or the third base ref, right? He is in that position, right? That is what he does. Okay, there's different referees. There's different judges. in that game for different areas of the field, right? So you can't have one guy being responsible for everything. It just is not going to go well. You're not going to get any kind of consistency. That's what we're in. I think there are few people like Jeff Doss, Chris Walker, who can confidently walk into any division within the entire sport and everybody go, yeah, feel good about that. All right. If I walked into, well, as it would already happen. If I walked into a Japanese division, they'd vote me out. You know what I mean?
Well, you didn't have the right hat on. you didn't come in with the right hat. You had the dark hat on. You needed to have
You see what I'm saying, though? Like,
right.
look
No,
at that. All right.
Yeah. But I think, Alex, I understand what you're saying, but I think it goes back to this. You froze. But I think it's about. I think it's about today.
I've walked into any. Oh boy.
Well, I'll finish. I think it's about today, and what I mean by that is legacy judging, right?
There we go.
Legacy judging. You got to judge for that day. I don't care whose name it is, what they have on their back. It is what they did that day. Oh, I've seen this person have a better day, but I'm still going to give them because who they are, right?
Right.
Hey, everybody has a bad day. Jordan didn't score 30 points every game, right?
Right.
So judge him for that game, for this tournament on what they did, not on legacy. And that's the next step to where we want to be. We want to be consistency in our judging and don't care about who they are, what team they are. Judge them for that day. And once you see that, honestly, and I'm probably going to make somebody mad about this, but once we start judging with consistency and with no legacy judging and judge them on that day, our sport will grow. I promise you, because everybody will feel like when they go to that tournament, I got a chance. Right. That's what you want. You just want an opportunity, right? Give me an opportunity. And that opportunity even goes to this. I can tell you right now, if there's 20 people that are competing in a division and that person goes up first, he has just as much opportunity to win. But we've gotten them where, hey, I go up first, I have no shot. I'm going to get a bad score. And I can tell you, even in my ring, you got just as great a chance as that person who goes last. And that's the way it should be. I'm sorry. I'm about to tick a bunch of people off. I'm going to get some messages.
It's true, though. I mean,
you are.
We do that. It's okay. All right, Alex, get into what you wanted to talk about.
This is going to be something. Okay. So it's kind of I don't want it to be like a clickbait topic, but it kind of is, because it's a bigger spectrum topic that should be spread wide. But I know I'm rambling and I apologize. But let's talk about what everybody loves and hates to talk about. Let's talk about 2-point kicks to the body. Okay. Should they be 2 points? Should they be 1 point? What should they be? All right. Because there's a fair amount of body kicks this weekend. Or was there? That's the dang problem. The biggest hindrance to this movement of 2-point kicks to the body is coming from the people who, I don't want to say the people, is coming from like organizations and entities that are saying, no, it should be 2 points or it should be 1 point. All right. You're getting in your own dang way. If you go back, this is one of the great things about not being at the tournament is you can watch different rings. You can watch everybody. And when you look at that and go, oh, I see, You don't want to call any kicks to the body at all. Well, now your whole movement of let's get rid of 2-point kicks to the body. Well, who the heck would sign up for that? You're not even calling kicks to the body as it is. Why would I give away 50% of the point value of the kicks I'm not already getting to you when you don't even want to call them to begin with? Like, no, get the heck out of here with that. I am actually, I'll say let's like this, a kicker, and I am okay to say, yeah, we can have 1-point kick to the body if you're going to call it as such, right? But if it's a clear, solid, boom, side kick to the body, and it's like, I don't know, or you're just not even saying stop. Well, no, you take your 1-point kick to the body idea and just throw that right out the window. You just got in your own dang way. You cannot even broach that subject now because of the way that we're calling and officiating these things. It is absolutely madness. It wasn't the same in every single ring, but when fighters are no dummies, right? When they watch you not call it, they're going to stop doing it. So now they look at this and go, I don't have a shot. If you just see what just happened there, all right? I watched Ryan George who looked amazing this weekend. Right?
Oh, he did. He did. Like literally, he did.
Yep. I watched Ryan George destroy somebody with a side kick to the body, get nothing. Not even a stop call. So I'm like, well, of course. Why is he going to keep doing that now? All right. So now, all right, he can't even get a kick to the body. All right. So now, okay, luckily he has the ability to float it up high. But if you take someone who's like, no, they're really not someone who kicks to the head a lot. They're not someone that floats it up high. All right. But they have a fantastic lead leg side kick. Well, now you just took away their entire game plan. All right. Because of the way you decided you wanted to call stuff. And that's not okay. So, but let's before I continue with my ranting of disapproval, I started with let's give Ryan George RPG, all right, some credit. Guy came out, I don't know how old he is, but I mean he's fighting like he's 23, right?
He looked good the whole he looked good the whole weekend. I'm telling you, a lot of his fights I was judging and was right there. He looked good. He mixed his hands with the kicks. He's always had great kicks. Mentally, he was there. He looked good the whole weekend.
Yeah, he was good. There was a lot of good fighters this weekend. I thought Justice Floyd looked really good. That's a guy, and that's a fight as well. I watched him fight. I believe it was Brian Rodriguez, and I got something to say about that one. And like Justice, he threw a good side kick to the body. All right, hit him, no stop call, and was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this now. But Justice, has 17-foot legs, so he could float it up over his head, and it didn't dramatically change his game plan. And he beat Brian. So he was able to do that. I thought, even though I mentioned Brian, I thought Brian looked really good this weekend.
He looked good.
However,
I'm gonna shout out to Diamond. Those guys look good. And Lazarby and ATL team looked good. They had a bunch of young guns that look good. Got to watch out for them. They look good, right? Army had a few new guys that they brought out. They had a crew, which was nice to see. And Anthony Price, I see him say laugh out loud, sitting in the chair. So you'll get a chance to see him a little bit more. But to what
we said last time he was on, right, Alex? Like, why doesn't someone have you as the coach? And let alone what? Later, he's hired on, or a month later. Hey,
Anthony Price is a national treasure.
Yeah, he is. He is. And his wife, listen, hey, if she's listening, you know what we always say, this is some bull crap. So I had to shout out to his wife. That's her. Something happened. Hey, guys, I forget. We were at a tournament together, and something happened that was just so stupid we just said, this is some bull crap. And she actually made me a shirt that said, this is some bull crap. I love her to death. She's a treasure in herself. And, it was good to see her there, with all the challenges that she had recently and whatever. And, that's one of my, literally that's one of my hearts. So I was glad to see her out. But that's another thing is the consistency. And again, I want everybody that's listening, it's easy for us to just sit and trash. That's just easy. The things that we're talking about is what can we do to improve? One of the things that was brought up is you have 12 rings, let's just say, or 15 rings at a tournament, and you've got 15 different tournaments running at the same time, and every ring having different rules. You know what? This ring is calling out of bounds, but this one isn't. This ring over here doesn't have equipment warnings, right? This ring over here, he will not give a D side. They won't call it. And so you look for the consistency in every ring. And it's something because for me, you have the black belt meeting, you expect people to show up, and they don't. And the ones that really should be there feel like, and they don't show up.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? Knowing the rules is half the battle. And being consistent. I know I can tell you right now, and Anthony knows this, I had a bunch of people yelling at me because, hey, your fighter stepped out of bounds. I don't know. I love Noreen. But hey, out of bounds is out of bounds, right? And if we're gonna call it, let's be consistent in calling that. And that gets us to the one subject that I know everybody's waiting to talk about, and that is what happened with Ryan George in the finals.
And Christian, yeah.
So before we get to that, because I have plenty to talk about, but so we started talking about kicks to the body, what's the rule, what's this supposed to be? I want to make a reminder, right, in case people have kind of forgotten, which I think we have. Front hand to the body is a legal scoring technique. Okay,
a jab. Not a back fist.
Doesn't matter, Canel. I'm gonna ask you. You were judging this weekend. How many did you see?
How many jabs?
How many attempts did you even see?
No. We saw him. We saw him this weekend. We did. And I can tell you, one guy tried it a couple times until we told him, no, it's got to be a jab. And then it switched up.
Well, why?
He started jabbing.
It has to be a jab.
Yeah.
The rule does not say it has to be a jab. It can be a back fist to the body.
They're not calling it. It's not being called.
Bingo. You just said it. They're not calling it.
Yeah.
So I had to give like a, hey guys, let's just reminder, this is a legal scoring technique that should dramatically change fighting. It should dramatically change. So we can say we saw attempts. I watched almost all fighting. Now I'm going to tell you this. No. There wasn't a lot. There wasn't nearly enough that this one move could and should affect fighting, because if it's just not going to get called, why would we bother with it? All right. It's just the same thing. That's just, we said it earlier, right? If a side kick to the body is just not going to get called, why am I going to bother with it? All right. So now everything just changed. You just changed. We said it in forms, right? Because of the way that people are going to be calling techniques. Okay, well, I can't do that anymore. Now I need to change it to this. Same in forms, right? Well, I'm going to change my form based off of what the judges are going to call as a win, right? So I'm going to change everything based off of that. We've given so much power to a judge that might not even be around for the rest of the season. And we're giving them so much power and influence when shouldn't even be the case.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk
All right.
about it.
Let's go.
Okay. So the final was Ryan George versus Christian Rivas, and I'm keeping up with it, and I'm messaging people, and I'm like, I mean, the way things are getting called, Ryan's going to have a lot of kicks at the head because Christian gets too low. He's too shifty. That if kicks are to the body, it's just not going to work.
Right.
So, but Ryan is Ryan. But Christian gets off to he's winning.
Listen, Alex,
right?
this is funny. I
Yeah.
forget who I was coaching, and we were fighting Christian. And Christian, you can tell when he's going to take off. He's so wide and low. So I started yelling. I'm like, he's taking off. Look how wide his feet. And every time he did it, he'd bring his feet in. And we talked after the match. He says, I really didn't notice it. I'm like, Christian, everybody knows when you're wide, you're going to take off.
Notice that?
You throw this, raise your leg up like you're going to kick, but you're really not throwing a kick. But he's so fast. He's so fast. And that kind of hurt him in that last point when he stepped out of bounds.
He didn't notice that he gets that wide and that low.
I'm telling you, we just talked about it. I forget what tournament we talked about the first time. And then at this one, he says, I heard what you said. I've been trying to watch it. But if you watch his film, as soon as he's wide, you just know whatever movement he's about to do, he's going to be taking off on you. But
this is a little bit of credit to
everyone is thinking.
I mean, if he didn't realize that and he's doing it anyway, when we all can look at that and go, all right,
he's
looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Like I could clearly see what's going on here. And he's still able to score. Like, all right, man.
No, he did. Listen, he's still getting it. You're right. He's still getting it. But what's something about it, if you really look at his fights, and this is nothing taken away. Hey, if you're getting it, keep going until somebody figures you out. But if you look at him, 90% of his points are going to be off of the takeoff. He
does a very good job of doing harder things. One of the harder things in fighting offensively is to, when you're blitzing, to always be lower than the other person. And I mean, he's tall.
Especially for a tall guy. Yes.
And he gets really low, right? Which you can't really stop that with a side kick. Mm-hmm. So you go, okay, well, I'm not going to sidekick. Well, his arms are 17 feet long, right? And he's leaving before you do.
Right.
This is a very challenging position. If you're sitting in one position being like, I got him when he comes. No, you don't. Okay. Right. Anyway, he's winning. He's winning by a significant amount.
Yeah.
He's moving and he's winning. All right.
Yeah. Good fighter. Hey, listen. Look, Christian said laugh out loud. But it's the truth, and we laughed about it. He's such a good guy. But the fight between him and Ryan, I mean, there were moments like it was a toss up. You didn't know, and then he pulled away, and it was like, I can tell you, everybody, especially I was one of the corner judges, and I don't know what his coach said because, I didn't understand. I think he was telling him to move around, but it was 6 seconds left and he's up 5 points, right?
Up by 5.
Yeah, it was 12-7. 12-7. I think it was 6 seconds left, right? Or maybe 8 until he stepped out. And then all of a sudden I see David walk away. Because we both said exit. It was 2 of us that said exit. And I think David saw it too. If he didn't, sorry for saying it. And then you see David. He walks off and he's talking. And it's a little bit, and I don't know what happened. And then he comes up and he said, hey, you know what? He's disqualified. And it's because there were 3 penalties right? It was a penalty in the first round and then 2 penalties in the second round. And when you think about stepping out, you really kind of don't, I mean, you don't think of it as this type of penalty, but it's still a penalty. So when it happened, and he said everybody was just shocked. And I walked over. He says, yeah, he got 3. He had 1 in the first round and 2 in the second round. And I'm like, and let me tell you, as bad as I felt for Christian, I looked at Ryan, and Ryan was shocked. Ryan said, hey, listen, there were 4, yeah, and avoid the fight. I forgot. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, David. But the other thing was Ryan was just blown. I mean, he was like, hey, listen, I don't want to win it like this. Can we fight? And I'm like, I mean, you could just see how hurt and bummed. And even afterwards, later on in the night, you could feel Ryan's energy. And I'm like, Ryan, you know what? That's the rules. And you know what? It worked in your favor and whatever. But don't feel like you didn't work hard this whole weekend and everything else. It happened. You won. Take it and then go. And Christian, the same thing. You know what? You feel for him because he's 6 seconds away from winning it all, right? Right. And that would be tough for anybody for that to happen to. But that goes back to ensuring that you understand the rules, not only, you know, as a coach, as a competitor, as a parent, spectator, whatever, so that when those things happen, you understand and you do those things to avoid it.
So here's the thing. In the end,
you go, Alex, and I have a question.
For any division, if we're judging, 14 to 17-year-old boys' creative forms, right? Doesn't matter what the division is. Once it's done, you want to be able to look at yourself and go, all right, did the top 3 people win? Did they place where they were supposed to place? Okay, so let's the 3 of us ask each other, did the right person win? On the count of 3, answer yes or no. Did the right person win?
Are we talking the whole weekend?
Just right. Nope. Ryan and Christian. Okay. On the count of 3, let's all say yes or no. Did the right person win that match? 1, 2, 3. No.
Yes.
Why you guys leave me to be the only person who says that?
By the rules, I can tell you by the rules, the right person won.
No, let's talk about that because I disagree. By the rules, no. Go look it up. By the rules, when you start talking about exits, it makes no mention of disqualification.
No, it's penalty, not by exit. Because really, hey, David, there was one more. If David is listening,
see how many holes in Swiss cheeses there are?
No, there isn't. A penalty, stepping out is a penalty.
Yeah, there's 4 penalty points awarded, then there you go.
Correct. Wait,
4 penalties.
Yes, there were 3 exits. I forgot, David. There was one where he fell on the floor to avoid. That was a penalty. And wait, there was one more that we could have called that I didn't see it clear enough. There was when I believe he kicked Ryan, and it was a low kick, and we couldn't get 3 people. In my angle, I couldn't see it.
That was what my question is going to be. What is the penalty that never gets called and gets called less than anything? And to me,
it's low kicks.
It's low kicks, never gets called, and it drives me nuts. And that one can affect the fight in so many ways.
For sure.
I've seen people the whole game like just completely deflate. I've shared before how I was up 4-0 in a match one time, and I got hit so hard that like literally
in the boys.
I really probably shouldn't have been fighting the rest to finish it and lost the fight because of just how that shifted. And a lot of times that doesn't get called at all. It drives me nuts. And kicks, really, if it's below the belt, it should be a penalty. I hate to say it, but that's the rules. We're kicking people in the knees, underneath the legs, below, in the nuts. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get called.
And you know what else, Jeff? I don't like the argument of, well, they had their leg up and they were kicking, so I didn't have a target. Not my problem.
Yeah, that shouldn't be.
Not
yeah, that
my
shouldn't
problem.
Be, yeah, that
Because if
shouldn't.
I'm
yeah.
kicking and my chamber is up,
Yeah.
just because
Gotta
you
get
want
around it.
to kick doesn't mean
Right.
you can. So if you no
Right.
longer have a line of trajectory that will reach a target, that's
Right.
your fault, not
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like I said,
I disagree with
based
you
on your
I
question,
disagree with you
But
on the penalties.
the rules.
the
Yeah,
the
rules.
it's the rules.
Yep.
Well,
Is
I
it
disagree,
something
I don't
that
disagree.
potentially is it something that maybe in this instance, because I can tell you now, I've been around a little bit. I don't really recall anyone being DQ'd in that fashion. If you guys can remember something like that, I for penalty points, I can't recall, but maybe there's
It's been a
something.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it's something, Alex and Jeff, that maybe with some of the promoters that's in, maybe they look at it. Maybe it's more than, maybe it should be, hey, if I had a penalty in the first round, when I start the second round, you know what, it wipes the slate. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a better
2-round
way.
fights. I think it's a valid point. As far as that is, it should, because the length of the match isn't the same. Like 4 penalties in 2 minutes. Yeah, all right, that's too much, right? Now we're talking about the same in 2 minutes. Okay, well that's doubled the time. There does need to be some change for 2-round fights. I do agree with that, but at the point there wasn't. So by the rule then it wasn't.
Yeah,
there just needs to be better language for, like, okay, when you're looking at, because when you look at the rule book and you talk about exits, it doesn't say that if you exit X many times, there's going to be a disqualification. It doesn't mention that. What it does make mention of is when you go back, when you says like, however many infractions, there's going to be, boom. Like then you can be disqualified. Okay. So, but let's say this. Let's say I'm fighting Enrique Latona. Right. And I just want to give him some credit. He is
crazy leg. Crazy leg.
That's never been in question. He's done a fantastic job of staying on 2 feet in comparison to what he's done in years past. Okay. He's done a much, much better job. Okay.
Yes.
I applaud that big time.
Yes. Agree.
Well, let's go back to when maybe he wasn't. Okay. If I'm fighting him, it's pretty much just, maybe not me personally. I'm only using me because I don't want to name anybody else. All right. It's fair to say he's probably going to be on his back a couple times, either intentionally or unintentionally. That would be fair to say. It's probably going to happen. So now, right away, with that alone, we got 2 warnings. Okay. Right. So now, well, what if he accidentally kicks me low? That's a third. And that's just he and I kicking at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you trying to tell me if he exits now, he's disqualified? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. If he exits one time, it's like, okay, that's a disqualification. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I always thought that like it made sense to me if it was like 3 of the exact same penalty. But then I also see how people would just be like, okay, I got 2 of this, I got 2 of this. Because again,
I know.
Let's be honest. Let's just go back to one of the greatest of all time. Nasty would do this. Nasty was that smart that he knew, all right, I got one of these. I'm going to, because one of his best moves was when a guy he knew was going to blitz, they would blitz, he would drop down and they would blitz over and fall down and say, all right, they ain't going to blitz again, because they don't want that to happen where they just almost knock themselves out, doing that, right? Or, you have people doing like a flip or a cartwheel kick. Oh, that just, like things like that they would get penalties for. Raymond would do it just to embarrass the guy, right? Or to just make him think of something different. So there are a lot of things, that, so I don't know. I see how both make sense, but there's reason why we have it as three penalties, no matter what it is, because
but that's the thing. If whatever the rule is, we've been saying this the whole dang show. Competitors are going to look at what the rule is and go, okay, that's the line that I can toe. I'm going to toe that line what can I do that gets close to that? What can I do within the rules kind of to get an advantage? It's all we want is we want an advantage. We want to win, right? Whatever that is, we're competing. How can I gain an advantage? And so we're going to dissect whatever you put on paper. We're going to dissect that as much as possible. It's just a reality.
Yep. Yeah.
So David's answering questions that are happening there,
which is great. And Trey, you know what? Most of the judges that were on stage, I will say, knew the rule and we didn't like, wait, did I?
But
right? And you started thinking, and you're like,
right.
I know the rule.
Well, yeah. Right. And that's why.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't satisfy me.
Right.
Hearing that rule going, this is the rule and this is what happened. So has to be the end result. I'm not satisfied with that explanation. That doesn't make sense.
So,
right?
So Alex, other leagues do have where, like Waco has this, and it has the amount of penalties that are on there. So that way the judges know, all right, when that happens, all right, that's going to be a DQ. AAU point fighting has and AAU, Taekwondo point fighting and their continuous has the same thing. If there's this many infractions, they know, all right, that's done. DQ,
it's over. Done. Yes,
and it's down there. And it's on the screen, and you can see that. That I think is something that needs to be activated in this situation, so that way it's there for the promoter and for the center.
Absolutely, you're right. At the very least, that way we can at least go, oh, I see that there's this many here. That's just as important as the score of the match. Makes sense. Sure. That's an easy one that should be able to be fixed like that. Okay.
Well, but Alex,
however, wait a minute though.
Yeah.
You brought up the Waco system. The Waco, there's X amount of exits. Like, okay, you get an exit. Okay, you get any more, you get this. But other penalties, they don't accumulate together, right? So a late hit doesn't go in conjunction with an exit, right? A low kick doesn't go in conjunction with an exit. All those things, they don't take them all into consideration. They take each one individually. You had this many, and you have to look at that and go, okay, if we get an Ashley Anderson, using that, name because he was, the best, but also was notorious for, I'm going to, bust this guy up. Okay. You might have that, but look at what we have as an end result. Okay. If you want to say, but we can't have that. So this is what we have now is better than that. Is it because you just had a guy winning by 5 lose? So is what we have now better? Because I don't think that's the case. If you can go, this guy was winning by 5 points with 6 seconds left, and you said he loses because of the way the rule is written down. I think that's a massive flaw in the system.
Yeah, but the same thing happens in a lot of other contact sports. MMA, if a guy, too many finger pokes, and honestly he's winning the whole thing, they're gonna finish it. If he grabs the fence 2 times, guess what? They deduct a whole point for that round. Okay, that changed the fight completely. Those things happen, but in this situation, it should be on the competitor to know the rules. What I'm hearing from everyone is that not everyone knows about this.
Correct. But Jeff, let me give you this that started happening. It's not happening consistently, but like pre-division, like when you talk about creative and pre-division explaining, hey, right? You read the rule and I can tell you say, hey, listen, competitors, does anyone have a move that they think might violate the rule? And if you show it to me, I can tell you if it's a yes or no, right? And so giving that little explanation, maybe that's a way to say, hey, after what happened, you know what? These penalties are the type, if you get 3, you know what? then you're disqualified. I mean,
And that's something
right
that
now,
Kappa,
Alex, it's
Kappa
not a
has
cop out. But
right
now, with the rule being the rule, I think we got to find a way to ensure. Thanks, David. We just got to find a way. We got to just find a way, Dave, Alex, that is the rule something that you believe is fair, or whatever the case, maybe there becomes an opportunity to in the future to amend it. But for right now, it is the rule. Just need to make sure that everybody's clear on it. Because like I said, some of the, there's always opportunity to improve. I think it was, like you said, 6 seconds, I'm up 5 points, and to lose, it's tough, right? So, yeah. And to Damon,
these are all things. Yeah, I was just saying, these are all things that Kappa has brought up and has pushed for. The 7, the bigger rings with the different border. That's something that many events have, worked on and done. Also, we created also the list of the things for the judges to talk about before, and the Battle of Atlanta put those out as well. So I'm hoping that they do the same thing this year. I'm hoping other tournaments do the same, because it just needs to happen. Talk to the judges about the rules. Talk to the competitors about the rules. Everyone before each one, especially, well, in all of this right now. I mean, fighting forms, whatever. You're judging 6 different rules back to back to back. Creative, extreme, musical. All of them have different rules. Korean forms, Japanese, traditional challenge. Everything is different. So it needs to be adjusted. So
I hear what David is saying, that like it's the fighter's job to know the rule, and I agree with that. I just don't agree with the rule. I think that's the only thing that I have a big difference on, is we look at this and go, and that's why I'm like, I don't get how I'm the only one this loud about it, going, it wasn't a 2-point match. Right. It wasn't like, man, this thing was really, it wasn't that. You wouldn't, and that's why I want you to hear it, repeat it, say it out loud. I think this guy who was winning by 5 points with 6 seconds left, I think he should be the one who loses.
Well, and then
say that.
Well, and then when you really think about it, if there were 3 penalty points, that's really, he would be up by 8, right?
Do you see what I'm saying?
Christian, you're number one. Because I think I can tell you, I've never.
Christian, I think you are.
No. Anyway, I will tell you. But before you go though, I want to say something to Damon's point. The stage, you know what? There was a little lighting issue or whatever. Everybody was explained that, hey, listen, the second blue is out. But when you're in the heat of the moment and you're fighting, you know what? And you got Ryan throwing kicks, and you're trying to move.
George kicking it.
But this is an opportunity to say, next year, make sure that outer border, which was the same as the blue, you know what, make it red for next year, because the ring size, the ring was 9 by 9.
Okay.
So it was a huge ring. It was 9 by 9. It basically filled the whole stage. But I think, again, it's an opportunity to say for next year, make sure that outer border is noted. And then for any of the promoters that are on as a lessons learned, just make sure that out of bound is clear, because we did explain it every single sparring match. And you still have people step out, right? They want to take the full advantage of that big ring, right? But again, it's easy to just criticize. Let's just look for a way to make sure that doesn't happen, and that information is explained, before the matches or whatever. I don't know. So
Well, dude, I'll tell you what. This has been a fun episode. We got down to the nitty gritty and the dirty stuff that we probably were thinking, oh man, should we say this? Yes, we should. We need to put it out there and share.
I don't think.
And you know what? We've done it in a polite, respectful way.
I don't think we're being offensive to anyone.
No, and I think that that to me is something that there is a difference when people just randomly say things, but without any, like you're hating on something, but without any way to fix it, right? We've all provided different ways to fix it and to work on it in positive ways and to help the sport. We're not here to put down the sport because we love it and we're supporting it all the time. It's not like we don't support and go to these events anymore. We're there every weekend, going all the time supporting. So yes, we want this to keep growing and getting better for everyone. And however we can help, this is part of that, right? So I love it. And next week we're going to talk more about, like what Kevin said. We come to see the fighters. We come to see the competitors, the former competitors. We're going to talk more about that athletic and that competitive mindset and that part, that hopefully can shine more as we continue to make this organization and the rules better. So,
yeah.
Yo, I got a question for Canel. Canel, you on my T-Wolves bandwagon now?
Oh, hey, Ant's the real deal. Yes.
Western Conference Finals, baby.
Yes. I gotta tell you, I think this next series is gonna be fire. Dallas, Minnesota. I can't wait. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna do I'm probably get some wings, some potato skins.
Oh wait, you didn't answer my question though. Who are you rooting for?
I hate telling you this. I'm pulling for Minnesota.
Thanks, Damon.
You're rooting for Minnesota? Yes.
I'm pulling for Minnesota.
Heck yeah.
And I'm pulling for Indiana.
I am too. I don't think they're gonna pull it off, but I think Tyrese Halliburton and company.
He's got an ugly shot though.
Yeah, it's because he can. Because he's what is he, like 6'5", 6'6" at point guard? Like anybody guarding him doesn't have a hand in his face, so he can have a broken looking shot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks like he Muay Thai. I don't know. It's just ugly.
He's doing some defense lab. He's doing some defense lab stuff. Some crazy. What
Damien's saying? Damien's saying he thinks Jeff is a better kicker than me. Duh. Of course.
Oh yeah, that's not even.
Duh.
Jeff is. Yeah, Jeff.
Damien just tried to step up.
Yeah, but his kicks got better once he stopped fighting.
This guy.
Or guy.
Jeff.
He's saying me. I'll still.
I mean, they got better.
Yeah,
That's what is better than
after he stopped fighting.
Whatever.
Listen, I got video, and Jeff's got video of when he fought at my tournament. It was crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? All right, my kicks look good there, but you know what really looked good? My hands.
You did. Yeah, You had good hands. You had good hands then, so it's all good.
All right.
This is great.
This was a fun time.
It was. It really was. Thank you, guys. I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I think, some of the topics were really hard. I didn't want us to focus in on names that were falling asleep and all these other things. It's not about who it was. It was about making our sport better, being more attentive to the competitor. To Kevin's point, we're not there, and people aren't there for the refs. They're there to see the competitors. And so we want to make sure that they have every opportunity to be the best and have every fair opportunity to win their division. That's all. Everybody just wants a chance. So I continue. These are great conversations. If you ever want me back on, we can talk about it some more. But the biggest thing is moving our sport forward.
To the future.
That's it. Yes.
When Minnesota wins the NBA championship and Anthony Edwards is finals MVP, we'll come back on just to talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, because it won't be a lot of talking about the Detroit Pistons.
Oh man.
Sorry,
What's you
man.
guys' pick in the draft? Do you guys have a high draft pick? I hope.
I think we got like 3. We didn't win the
One over
lottery.
number one. Yeah, that
Who
never
did win the
happens to
lottery?
you.
I can't remember.
It
Yeah.
never happens to the Pistons. Yeah.
It's all good.
All right,
Especially, we can talk about we can always talk about the Lions.
I don't mean, do you want to?
and
The
Leon just
Detroit
hit the button.
Lions. Trey, you guys did great this weekend, my man. Kudos to you guys.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you next week. Thanks, Cano.
See you guys.